making my creepy drawing come to life. To create the frosting pieces that I have, I'm taking some Model Magic underwater. Don't do it as much as I did. That was a little mistake, but I created a little piping bag to create the frosting pieces. Let the Model Magic dry a little bit. If it came out too watery like mine did, I eventually just sat it out for like an hour and a half. It dried down, and then I was successful at creating the little swirls. I melted down some moldable plastic. Took one of these like lip glosses and created a grid in it so that I could make it into a stamp. Take a piece of poster board and roll it into a cone, then tape it up, and you're gonna have your base for your waffle cone. Take some more Model Magic and you're gonna roll that baby out. Then we're going to grab our little stamp. You're going to get it wet so that it doesn't stick to the Model Magic, and then stamp it in there as best as possible to try to get it as seamless, maybe. But if it's not, then it's okay because the look is supposed to be creepy. So if it's uneven, fabulous job. Peel the Model Magic up as best as possible, just trying to be very careful. I didn't even think about flouring my surface. Totally could use some translucent powder to lay down that on your desk first. I think that probably would have helped. I was successful at removing the Model Magic, and I just wrapped it carefully around each of the cones and then cut off the trim. And now you can see some little successful swirly frosting things that I made. I just pulled that up and then I nipped it. I cut it. Goodbye! And it doesn't have to be perfect in the middle because you're going to put little eyeballs in it. Yeah, we're creepy like that. I took some plastiline clay and extended the chin. That way we can extend the face. Next, I'm mixing up some liquid latex paste using liquid latex and flour. I do about 2 parts liquid latex, 1 part flour, and then add any additional flour as necessary. And then I'm using a fork just to smear that all over in that creepy smile position that I'm looking for. Off to the side, dump out some liquid latex so that you can dip your finger in it and then smooth out all of the liquid latex. I usually like to use my finger instead of any tools on this unless I use a palette knife. I like to make the liquid latex paste with a thinner liquid latex and then use a thicker liquid latex to usually smooth out the prosthetic. It makes it a lot smoother. Next, we're going to add some teeth to our character, and I have a million made from when I did my Demogorgon, and then I made some extra big ones. And we are just going to poke these all around into our mask. This is the fun part. Aww, a smile anyone could love. Now go to part 2. We are adding some liquid latex paste to the forehead, and you're going to smooth that out. For the bottom half of the mouth, I did put it in the microwave for about 7-10 seconds, about 2 or 3 times, just to get that a little bit hardened. For the forehead, I'm just making it look like if you were to like roughly paint a cake. I'm trying to capture that same texture of just like that palette knife going across the cake. I don't know, this was the first time I'd ever done something like this. I'm building up one of the eyes. I just wanted one eye to look really chunky and enlarged on one side. Peel your eye frosting up very gently, and then I started kind of trying to figure out where the placement was going to be on the tongue. It's been about 3 days. I let this just kind of set to the side and dry. We're just going to powder the surface and then powder the underneath of the mask so that it doesn't stick to anything, and let's remove it. I'm gently peeling up the sides of the mask and then powdering on the inside of it so that it does not stick to itself. Just be very patient with yourself with this and try to peel it off as gently as possible so you don't ruin the mask. Take some scissors and get into the little hole so you can trim off all the excess liquid latex that's sticking out. We don't need any of those pieces, so goodbye! I'm starting to lay down my basic colors, just painting red in between all of the little teeths. I'm trying my best not to get the teeths. Okay, now go to part 3. With red body paint, I painted the inside of the mouth, and here I'm going in with alcohol activated paints to add a darker red on the inside to give it that appearance that it's going further into the mouth. I'm taking Makeup or Murder's toxic eyeliners to paint all of the teeth. I wanted to make them all rainbow, and I figured let's use these toxic eyeliners to create them. I love lime green, and I figured he's got to be lime green, so definitely painted him lime green. I'm loving the rainbow teeth to go with it. I glued my frosting eyes onto my tongue, and I'm giving this a rough paint job. I'm doing a dark red on the outside with a dark pink, and then a light pink in the middle. I wanted to lay down my rough pink first so that I can go in with the red just to enhance it. Yas, our waffle cones. So I wanted these to be black, and then I was like, maybe people are not going to notice the texture of it. So I did a rough black and then go on top of that with a brown, and I just continued to kind of build it up into a lighter brown so that you could see the design of the waffle cone and it still had a little bit of a dark creepy appearance. I'm adding some darker greens around the bulged out eye area and then in the other eye just to give it an appearance of darkness, because I know I want to paint them black on the inside. So I wanted to definitely have a darker appearance and then also just make it look grunge in general. I added some black around the mouth just to give it that more grunge effect and also to give it more of a line where the mouth is, and it's not just like going from face to mouth. There actually is kind of like, I suppose, a lip right there. I also added some dark greens and blacks to the holes that I created inside of that cake texture. And then with a lighter green, I'm just going back on top of all of the highlights just to make them pop a little bit more. Here's the completed mask and tongue. I added a little bit more shadows and highlights just to make things pop and pull together. Stay tuned to see the mask applied.